Hi guys, welcome back to All Bases Covered with Mackenzie Alexander. A little bit of a different setup today at home, obviously, because all the college students have went home for Christmas break, and all the other students are getting ready to go on Christmas break. So, to anyone that is finally through exams, good job, you made it through. But yeah, super excited, and today's episode is actually the last episode of the year. So I just want to real quick before we start today's episode, just say thank you for all the new faces that got to meet and all the new coaches and for the athletes and coaches just taking the time to get on here during their busy schedules and just talk with me and just be polite and for all the success that we've had with this show. I mean, this was just kind of an idea that came out of nowhere. I mean, it was super just like it was something that was not planned at all, and it really goes to show that God will work in mysterious ways when you're least expecting it. So yeah, thank you to everybody, and it's been a great ride. We're not done yet, but it's just going into a new year, so just wanted to say that and show my gratitude. But not the point. Today, I'm super excited because our guest is a senior at Covington High School. His name is Cooper Winchester, and he's been playing baseball for a while now. He's committed to Air Force. He's a catcher. He works. He plays for Knights Nation, which is a very well-known travel team, especially in Louisiana. First team All State. Like, he has gotten a lot of reps, and he has a lot of talent. And it's been a guess that's really been a long time coming because obviously been watching him for a while and been watching to see what we want to talk about in the show. And so I'm super excited and excited that it worked out because he's in school still. So yeah, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Cooper Winchester.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for letting me go on here tonight. It's definitely a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on. We talked about before we started you're in exam, so pretty busy.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely keep me on my toes. I know this is around the time of year where baseball's starting up, but exams coming, so
yeah.
slam schedule all week long.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. That's a lot to balance. I think being a student athlete, since I was one, I know how it is. It's not easy. It's like you leave one of your jobs, but then you go to the next. Like, it's not like you ever have time off, it feels like. So I'm super, sure you're really excited for a break coming up.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a relief, especially after we get exams over with and knowing baseball's coming up. We're practicing, we're in the weight room. It's definitely an exciting time of the year, given like obviously the holidays and stuff, and then New Year and baseball season, and the clock's ticking. So I'm just trying to enjoy every last moment I have. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're a senior, and so obviously there's a lot of excitement that comes with that, but there's also a lot of last. And that's the last time you're playing with those guys on your team that you've been playing for a while now, 3 to 4 years. It's like it's hard because it's so exciting, but yeah, it's also really sad because you built bonds and you built things that money can't buy. And I know that St. Paul's obviously is such a special brotherhood. Like, all the guys just are super close kind of thing. So what has that been like, just being on that team over there at St. Paul?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like I said, it is pretty sad, but I try not to think of like how sad it is and just how fun it's going to be. I have a lot of connections with these guys outside of school ball. I play with a lot of them with like travel ball, and then I play with a lot of them in grammar school as well. And I grew up with a lot of them, so just like you said, I know it definitely is sad, but just trying to enjoy every last moment I have with them, especially just some of the guys I grew up with since I was little that my parents have all been friends with through their parents. So just definitely gonna soak every last minute in.
Yeah, there's this quote. It says, "How lucky am I to have to say something, or how lucky am I to have to say to goodbye to something that made me so happy," kind of thing. Like looking towards the positive of it instead of like the negative. So I feel like you either are one way or you're the other way. Like, either you're gonna be really sad about it. I mean, you're gonna feel it because it's like you're going to a new place, especially because you're going to Air Force. Like
Mhm.
it's a whole new place, whole new people. So yeah, that's exciting though. So baseball started for school, right?
Right. We just started working out before school. You know, a lot of my coaches coach football, so we're like usually like the latter teams try getting back in the groove of things. But we just started getting back in the groove of working out and throwing after school and hitting it all the past couple weeks.
Yeah, Coach Mick. Coach Mick
Mhm.
is one of your coaches. He's the
Coach
head
Mick.
coach. Yeah.
Love,
Um,
love.
he's awesome. He coached football, obviously. But he's been there for a while. He's really helped build that program, He went to St. Paul, so obviously very special. What is it like to have Coach Mick as coach?
Well, it definitely means a lot. I mean, he's a guy that's been around the game forever. You know, he's obviously coached a lot of great guys. I don't know if Ryan Schimpf, um, Andy Canizero, a lot of great guys have gone through his program. So he's had the privilege of coaching a lot of really cool guys, a lot of guys that made it really high and really far. And he's got a lot of stories, a lot of coaching experience. So to be able to play under someone like him is definitely an honor. And he's definitely more of a cooler coach to be around. He has his moments for sure where he needs to get your grip on you when like in the intense moments of a game. But he's also a fun guy, just a cool guy to be around, especially during practice or outside of school, and especially during school. So he's
Yeah.
definitely a fun overall person to be around.
Yeah, when it comes to coaches, obviously you either get a really good coach who really does love the players. And actually, Coach Mick told me this one time when I was interviewing him. I asked him, what was the best piece of advice that he's ever been given, and he goes, to know the players by their first and last name, because it means something to those players to not just know them by their last name, but to know who
Right.
they are as a player and not just as a number. So that's awesome.
Right.
But you have been playing baseball for a while. Obviously, you've been at St. Paul's for what, 4 years?
4 years. Yes.
Yeah. So you've been there since freshman year. Have you been on varsity since freshman year?
I have. I didn't go eighth grade year. I stayed at my grammar school because I was there from pre-K to eighth grade, so I stayed there in eighth grade and then made the jump my freshman year. And then I've been fortunate enough to be a part of the program ever since then.
What is it like for tryouts at St. Paul? I mean, it's competitive. So what was that like?
Yeah, we're pulling a lot of guys. So and also we're definitely not a lot of guys come from. But, yeah, a lot of guys come from like this guy and then it starts to dwindle and dwindle.
Yeah. Um, it just glitched out really bad. I had no idea what you just said.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Usually, I mean,
Okay, is your
Wi-Fi's pretty
Wi-Fi
good.
like at like a good? Is it 3?
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Yeah,
2?
yeah,
Mine is
pretty
2.
good.
I don't know. I just don't want to like have this to happen all interview because like if there's obviously gonna be really good points I want to edit out and post, but like I
Yeah,
don't want that to happen all interview.
yeah, no, I agree. It says I'm on fully right now. Like I got all the little bars. So
Okay. Okay. Jesus, please just let us get through this interview. Come on. Okay, it's fine. So you said you played since freshman year, the tryouts. Um, I said, what was the tryouts like? And I didn't hear what you said.
yeah, so it's very competitive. We're from a lot of directions. I mean, we're not that different. So you can pull guys from like all the way from Hammond, Slidell, and even up from like Bogalusa. So there's a lot of guys that come to try out. And in eighth grade is definitely a lot, and after that kind of starts to dwindle a little bit. Given that sometimes the game just kind of weeds out people, and then just people start making decisions whether they want to play or not. So it's definitely competitive for sure.
Yeah. So through all the competitiveness, obviously there's a lot of pressure in that. I mean, for some people there's not. Some people you can just kind of, where you stand with being good, like you're not really that worried. But was that ever a worry for you, maybe going into your freshman year?
I wouldn't say I was more nervous. I'm like this. Like I'm very confident. So I mean, I'm always. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go out there and give it my best. And if it goes in my favor, then I'm very grateful. And if it doesn't, then okay. Well, I mean, what do I need to do to compete? I mean, what do I need to do to get another opportunity to come out next year and prove to everybody else that I should be out here, or
Yeah.
get another shot at it? I try not to put as much pressure on me. I mean, the game's hard enough as it is, so the less pressure, the better always. So I just try to keep a level head and just do what I know I can do and stay confident in my abilities.
Yeah, I noticed when in your signing, you posted on social media, you thank God and you kind of gave glory to God, kind of thing like that. I think from what it looks like, your faith is a big part of your career and a big part of your story, and you really just kind of that your identity is not in the sport, and that's so important because your identity can't be in the sport. Like your sport is just what you play, not who you are, and so that's really good that you have that mindset.
Yeah, I kind of just. I mean, I don't want to say I'm like it is what it is, but I'm kind of just let God take the reins. I'm doing everything in my power. I'm working hard at it. I'm giving it my best shot. I mean, I'm out here doing whatever I need to do in order to help me succeed. And then at that point, whatever I can control, I mean, that's on me. I mean, I can't control what I can't control. So I usually just do my best and pray for the best.
Yeah, control what you can control and let God do the rest.
Hmm.
Because there's just so many things in life you can't control, but when it comes to, getting the amount of sleep you need to be getting to be, performing well or eating the right meals or, you know, not staying up till 4 a.m. before a game, like things like that, you know what I mean? Like it's like practical things like that. And I kind of want to jump into that. There's obviously a part when it comes to being on the field and, when it comes to performing with mechanics and all that. But there's also a nutritional side, there's a mental side, and there's a health side that is involved. And so I kind of just want to talk to you about, what's your pregame meal, what is your routine like, and what is something that's helped you kind of just stay grounded when it comes to game days and things like that.
Pre-game meal. That's more of like a superstition. Our mother's club really does a good job of providing meals before a game. So usually it's like a one or two Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches. But I know that sounds horrible, but it's usually the only thing we can get if we're hopping on the bus or if we're doing a quick like pregame right after school because we're usually running and gunning between going from the field to school or on the bus, whatever. So yeah. Other than that, though, it's like when I come home, it's more like grilled chicken, stuff like that. My dad loves smoking meat, so I'm always living off brisket or ribs or chicken and other stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, it's Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches, especially on the long bus rides.
I mean, it is the Lord's chicken. Like
I
it is
mean,
the best
yeah,
chicken.
it is.
So, do you have like an amount of sleep you have to get, or you don't perform well? Like, is that a thing at all?
Yeah, like given because we have to be up around like 5 to be able to get to the gym for at school. I'm usually in bed around 9:30, 10. I might read a little bit, study, but other than that, I'm usually not like a night owl. I mean, I like to sleep. I'll get groggy in the morning if I don't get my sleep. It's just between being on the road and stuff like that, you learn to value a lot of sleep, especially when you're playing constantly and you're in the middle of the season. That rest is really important. I mean, it's always nice to be in the gym working out and tearing up your body and then coming home to eat, but that recovery process is definitely a heck of a lot more important, or if not one of the most important aspects of being an athlete, especially when to maintain your body over a long period of time throughout a season.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget, you can go and play a great game. You can go and have a bunch of home runs. You can go and you can just like have a freaking game. But if you don't recover well after, if you don't take therapy, and especially if you injure yourself, like God forbid, if something happens, not even a major injury, but if you, just like are overdoing it, when it comes to, for example, your catcher. So I mean, you have a lot of like what, like leg, like kind of pain sometimes.
Oddly enough, I mean, knock on wood, I've never really had much like knee or leg problems.
Okay.
I've always been like my shoulder, my elbow. Yeah, I'm definitely icing my shoulder, my elbow, and I usually get out of school. I find a way to squeeze out of class like 30 minutes before school ends, and I go to the training room, and I usually do some ultrasounds and some stem therapy and stuff like that.
Okay.
My trainers usually expect us in there, especially throughout the season, and especially if a home game that night. A home game is a lot like I have more of a routine for that because obviously I know where I'm at, I know what I'm doing, I know what's there, what can help me be ready for the game, and usually I go in there a few minutes before school starts and work my way to the field, and then just maybe I might do I might go take a nap in the game room that we have on the couch just to kind of get my mind ready, especially after a long day at school. Calculus to baseball can definitely be a
Oh my
total.
goodness, calculus. That is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Are you good at math?
I try to be. I mean, it's one of oddly enough, it's one of my favorite subjects, but it's the one I got to work at the most. But yeah, we're decent. I have my calculus exam tomorrow, so we'll see how good I am after that.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, at LSU, I was in football math and I barely passed. I passed by like 2%. And it's like the easiest. Like it's lower than algebra, but I mean, honestly, like writing English has always been my strong suit. So I feel like it's opposite. You're either really good at math and science or you're really good at writing and gym.
Yeah, well, hey, you passed. So I mean, at that point, I mean, hey, I'm here.
Exactly. C's get degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. I didn't watch you be good. Stay in school. But so
Funny.
we talked about all the kind of like physical parts of being an athlete off the field, but the mental side. I mean, even though you're not in college yet, still like mental health is still a thing, and there's a lot of stressors that can come with it, a lot of pressure, especially when you're being watched by these great teams before you were recruited by Air Force, because I'm sure you went through the process of recruiting, which we'll get to, but kind of walk me through what, if you've ever went through anything with mental health or what you do when it comes to, getting down on yourself or anything like that.
Yeah, no, like I said, like the game it's a hard game. So the more you let it get down on you, the more it kind of affects your physical play. But other than that, I try not to put too much stress on myself. I mean, yeah, I mean the 0 for 4 games happen, but so do the 4 for 4 games. So it's just ebbs and flows of the games that you have to learn to cope with and learn to just accept and just know, like, hey, it is what it is. I mean, some weeks you're going to be the ball's going to look like a beach ball, and the next week you can't hit water falling out of a boat. So I mean, at that point, just get back to the grind. Never stop, never give up. Just keep doing your thing, keep doing your routine. Obviously, I mean, sometimes there might be some changes for sure, but for the most part, I just try to grind through it all, and I try not to get too down on myself because I know I've definitely been in a situation where I've gotten too down on myself, and it just ate me up. And I learned to just let go, relax, just be me, and go back to playing the game as I was when I was 6 years old. Just enjoying the game because it's a game. I mean, one day it's going to be serious enough to where it's a business, but right now it's fun. And yeah, like next year, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pressures and stuff like that between school and whatnot. But right now, I mean, there should be no pressure. I mean, I'm in high school. I'm enjoying every last minute of it. I'm playing with one of my best group of friends. I mean, I can't ask for anything better than that. So I'm just going to enjoy it and just accept what happens. Just keep putting in the work and just be appreciative for being able to play this game. So.
Yeah, I love that. You have such an optimistic mindset, and I think it's so important because mindset and perspective is everything in this game. Personally, I think baseball is more mental than physical. If you're not good mentally, you can't be good physically. And it's like you also aren't only being good for yourself. You have a whole team. Like you're not the only one out there. I mean, there are some sports where you can be individual, but baseball is not one of them. And so if you're not good, a lot of the times it means your baseball team's really not going to be good because even though it's one person, an individual makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. Especially like on a baseball field because you let your mental state affect you, then it affects you physically, then body language, and then other people pick up on it, especially younger guys. I strive to be like a role model for the younger guys and set standards and live up to the expectations and just be a overall good teammate to the younger guys, showing them how it is and how the program runs and all that. But definitely showing them how to cope with the ebbs and flows of the games and just learn to mature as a baseball player. It's definitely definitely an adventure because sometimes you have to meet with guys who have different views and you just compare it and you just get to know them better, and that just helps you as a team become better because when you know each other's strengths and weaknesses, you know how to help each other in tough situations.
When was maybe a tough situation maybe throughout one of the seasons that you've played that like kind of made you face adversity that you really weren't expecting, but it made you grow and be stronger as a person?
Yeah, no, funny story, but back in my freshman year, there was a huge misunderstanding, and I wound up being found ineligible to play my freshman year after playing 29 games, and it was a big mistake because between COVID and everything else, there was a lot going on in the offices. But after the season ended, playoffs started, and we found out that I wasn't supposed to be playing at all because I was ineligible due to living out of district. And the consequences were we had to forfeit the games that I played in that season, and I had to sit out the remainder of the season, and I had to sit out the amount of games that I played my freshman year, my sophomore year. So while it was a very rough time, for me and my family because I was getting a season taken away from me, I do think it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It was a very humbling experience. Like when the snap of a finger, something the one thing you love the most can be taken away from you like that. And I just learned to appreciate the game. I learned to appreciate the things that I have the most. And I learned to appreciate the people around me, too, for the support and everything. Because, that was a tough time. It was right around playoffs. There was a lot of jarring going back and forth, a lot of publicity. So having to deal with that, it was definitely rough. But coming back from my 29-game suspension, the last 4 games of the year, my sophomore year, I wound up going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs in an extra inning ball game against Fontainebleau. So I definitely feel like it paid off, and the waiting and just the continuous grind and sticking through practices and sitting in the dugout doing game changer with my polo shirt, it definitely paid off towards the end.
Wow, Cooper, 29 games. I didn't know that.
I know. Yeah, it was definitely that was a rough week.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going on, to be honest with you. I was just hearing it for the first time. Didn't really know like how to really handle it until I was getting all explained to me. And I kind of I felt I had a little bit of sense of guilt because at that point I know it wasn't my fault, but at the same time because it was me, I didn't know what to do. I felt bad for the seniors that worked hard and they were all going places next year and they grinded just as much as anybody else. And to hear that now their record's 4-29, it was definitely rough. But hey, we found a way to push through it. We competed towards the end of those playoffs, and like I said, I couldn't be more grateful for that. It was definitely a humbling experience, and just pushing through that really taught me a lot.
It reminds me a lot of when it talks about in the Bible. I don't know if you've read this story or not about Job when he lost everything, kind of thing, and it's like people don't even realize what they have, before it's taken away from them. And obviously, it's always those things that you're so comfortable in that get taken away from you. And thank God you didn't put your identity in that because who's to say you did? It'd be a really, really bad spot. And even though 29 games, like to any player, like that would probably be the end of the world for them. Like I know so many players who personally would their world would be over.
Mm-hmm.
And it's huge because you feel so guilty, like you said, for your teammates. You feel like you ruined everything for your teammates. But then again, I also think it's a little unfair because it wasn't like it was intentional. Like you truly didn't know, right?
Right. Well, look, I was going to my freshman year. We used to practice in the summer before the school season started. So before school started, I was practicing with the guys, and I was just happy to be out there. Look, I'm rolling up, 14 years old. I got a lot of my friends who are seniors that actually went to go play college baseball. So I was just happy to be around those guys. Just if I was just practicing with them, I was probably okay with that. I know I'm a freshman. I wasn't going in expecting much. But I was very grateful and honored to be able to give the opportunity to play. So, it was definitely like a rough time, but at the same time, I enjoyed it. I was there with a bunch, like I said, I try to stay open-minded and optimistic about it. Like I said, I was with a bunch of my favorite guys to be around. So, the term thick and thin, we went through it together for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that will bring you closer. It is those moments of adversity that will bring you closer, and it will really show you, is it strong on a foundation or is it strong or is it weak on sand kind of thing. Right. So thanks for sharing that with me. I had no idea.
Yeah, no, yeah. Usually I like it's like the running joke where I was the one that suspended St. Paul's for the playoffs that year, but at this point I just laugh it off. It is what it is. It's a story at this point. I understand. Like it was nobody's at fault. It is what it is. It was unfortunate, but like I said, I do think it was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I learned so much throughout that whole year that I feel like I couldn't learn through anything else.
Yeah, love it. So, St. Paul's going into, leaving that, going into your junior year, fresh slate, ready to go, prime recruiting, were you committed yet? You didn't commit till what? Your senior year?
I committed my November my junior year, so a little bit before junior season started.
Okay. So, kind of so I want to talk about the recruiting side with when it comes to different schools you looked at, maybe because Air Force, I don't know if that was your always kind of the one you were eyeing, but kind of tell me how that came about. And also, Air Force isn't just playing baseball, it's protecting your country. So what's your heart behind that?
Yeah, so I mean, baseball, like I said, it's always been my passion. It's always been something I've done. I loved it. I've been playing it since I was little. My dad played. He had the privilege to play 10 years professionally, so I've always been around it. But I used to have this talk with my dad all the time. What am I going to do after baseball, or what's going to happen if I get hurt or something bad happens? Theoretically, baseball has always been a plan B. It's always been, what am I going to do? What am I interested in? Stuff like that. And throughout these conversations, just talking ideas back and forth of what I'm interested in. I'm very interested in like engineering and stuff like that. So I was always picking out schools that had high engineering programs. And, because my grandfather was a Marine, so I've always been around the military as well. I had a really good friend of mine graduate from West Point. So I've kind of always been around people with military backgrounds. And, one day around my sophomore year, I told my dad, I said, well, what if I just do something military related? I'm very interested in that kind of stuff. I find honor in being somebody to go fight a war for other people that can't really defend themselves. So when Air Force kind of reached out to me, I kind of thought to myself, oh, well, this is kind of the best of both worlds. I get the opportunity to extend my baseball career 4 more years. And after that, I mean, I'm set to do really whatever my possibilities are thrown my way at the academy. I hope to fly planes one day. I hope to fly fighter jets. But hey, it's what I have written down right now. So I'll just see how that goes. And but when Coach Kaz reached out to offer this opportunity, I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, Air Force has such a good program. There's so many guys that are so passionate, and you cannot be a weak if you want to play Air Force. Not because it's college baseball, but because you're going to serve the country. It's a little different than playing an SEC baseball. Like, if we're talking competitive wise, maybe not. But when it comes to mental wise, when it comes to toughness wise, it is. Because Air Force, not only does it teach you skills to help you, if you want to be going into being a professional baseball player or, throughout more skills than you learn in high school, but it also teaches you like life skills, like actual life skills about just being mentally tough because, in the Air Force, that's a whole different ballpark.
Right. Yeah, no. The running joke for me is I went to Lake Castle, which if you don't know what that is, it's the running joke is it's a quote unquote military academy.
Okay.
From pre-K to 8th grade, I grew up wearing long black pants with Nike black shoes with a collared shirt and a belt. So and they instilled in me very very strict morals, values, and I've been disciplined since I was very little. So going to that school definitely prepared me for what's coming up next year. Because when I went on my visit, you're looking around, feeling out the environment, like talking to guys. That same feeling of me being at my grammar school kind of brought back a lot of like not memories, but the same feelings of the discipline, hard work, dedication, competitiveness, teamwork, and my mother would also agree that she's helped me as well. I'll give her some credit when it comes to that because she runs our household just as much as anybody else I've ever seen. I used to mess around with college coaches when they asked, "What does your mother do?" I used to mess around and say she was a domestic engineer. She runs the household. She gets everybody where they need to go. Makes sure everything in tip top shape. Beds made, rooms cleaned. She always keeps us in check for sure. So I definitely feel like I'm prepared for it. I mean, I know obviously there's some things that I probably aren't expecting and are going to be new to me, but I feel like I'm going to hit the ground, somewhat prepared on what's going to happen.
That's the biggest thing is you don't know exactly what's going to happen. No one knows 100% what's going to happen when you go into college baseball, let alone college baseball, let alone going to the Air Force for baseball. Right. But you do know what it could consist of, and you are mentally preparing yourself before it actually happens. So it's
Mhm.
like that's the most important thing. I love how you brought up your mom, because obviously mom and dad is a big part of your story and just kind of the support they've given you because you're a baseball player, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, mom or dad has to be traveling with you on weekends. Lots of money going into it. Travel teams, all that. You said your dad played professionally,
You did.
so was that always something that you guys kind of shared that you wanted to, kind of follow in his footsteps?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, growing up, I just like I said, I've always been surrounded by baseball. So just learning about like his story, the more and more he talks about it, the story he has between traveling and he was originally signed with LSU and he got drafted out of high school as a senior and he got drafted by the Rockies. I don't know if you can tell, but it's my pop's jersey behind me.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, no, it's definitely fun hearing the stories of all the guys that he's met, guys he still keeps in touch with. I know he keeps in touch with Matt Holliday a good bit. It's fun meeting up with those guys throughout the summer, like Ethan and we usually like run into him once or twice through some tournaments, and it's just a cool. I mean, outside of playing the game, just the connections in general. I feel like that's one of my greatest. I love that's why one of the greatest things I love about playing the game is just meeting new people, and
Yeah.
the connections that are made throughout the game and throughout the time my time playing.
Yeah, obviously there's so many great things that come out from sports, but I think a lot of people miss this part in sports is it is because you love the game and it is because you love, being around your teammates and things like that. But the whole point is community. Like
Right.
it brings people together that loves the same thing. And I was in a sports seminar one time. They talked about how sports really isn't sometimes even about sports. It's about kind of just being connected and like coming together and find people who are like-minded because it's super hard to find friends and to make time for friends, like not even intentionally, but to make time for them when it's during the sports season because it's like your schedule's hectic and it's crazy and sometimes you don't have time for people that aren't on the team.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No. I mean, throughout the traveling and all that, like just playing in different states and meeting new people and stuff like that, I kind of feel like that's become more one of my characteristics, just becoming an outgoing person. We'll show up to an event at a college for camp and be surrounded by 40 guys you don't know. So at that point, you want to break the awkward silence, just be like, "How you doing?" Just introduce. Just introduce yourself and then get to know them, and then from then on, it just takes off. I mean, look, I can't tell you how many guys that I'm still friends with to this day that are from all over the country that are going to fulfill their dreams in college baseball and on to the next level after that too. So I mean, like I said, it's a fun experience, meeting new guys, having different stories to tell, meeting people with different backgrounds, getting to know each other, and especially some guys you never know you might play with them. So being able to understand them, playing with them one day may possibly may play a huge role in your success as a team.
I love how you brought up, you never know if you're going to play with somebody because you don't. You
Mhm.
could meet somebody seventh grade year. You could meet somebody during a travel team during, for example, Hoover, like going to Hoover for the
Right,
weekend. You mean
right.
random guy. You could be playing with them at Air Force. You
Mhm.
never know where somebody's going to go. Even if they say they're going somewhere else, they could uncommit and they could go to where you're going. So
Absolutely.
it's important to never burn a bridge.
Right. Yeah, I know a good quote my dad taught me I love to live by. It's your network is your net worth.
Ooh,
So the more you have connections to everybody, the easier life can be because I mean it's all about who you know. And
yes.
those connections really could take you a long way.
I love that. I've never heard of that. That's awesome. Yeah. Um, so throughout all of this, you obviously, in concluding, you're super excited. You obviously are going to Air Force, like 100%. You talked about how you're super excited to just kind of, sacrifice for our country and protect our country, which scary times in the country a little bit, just a little bit. And so, I mean, it takes a lot of heart and it takes a lot of sacrifice. So thank you. Um, Last question I want to ask is what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given by a coach, mentor, somebody really that has impacted you?
Whew. Man, best piece of advice. I've been getting a lot of advice. I've taken a lot to heart. But shoot, you got me thinking on this one.
I mean, it's
Uh,
a hard one.
this is a really good one. I know it might sound pretty basic, but at the same time, it's the truth. Just have faith. It takes you a long way. It takes off the stresses and the pressures, and just having that connection with the man upstairs, just knowing that he's got you. He's going to take you where you need to go and do the things you need to do. So, outside of baseball, life in general, like I said, just take it and run with it and have what I have, and I'm grateful for it. And do nothing but pray about it and hope for the best.
Wow, Cooper, you seem like you're such a good mentor. Like I feel like you really know how to disciple people because you just have such a mature mindset. Like I would never even know like you're a senior in high school. I feel like a lot of people don't have nearly the kind of optimism that you have when it comes to sports. A lot of people just get really down on themselves and they get really just like, well, the world's over kind of thing. But you're just like, all right, knock me down. All right, what's next? Which is awesome. So that's super cool. So but yeah, that's so true. Like having faith is so important, and that's literally the foundation to life. Like
Right.
if all else fails, if you have God, like you don't need to worry about anything. So that's
life's bigger than a game, so there's a lot more to it than just playing the game.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Well, I want you to tell the audience kind of where can they come watch you play for your last season, and when is your guys' first game, and yeah.
Well, what's today's date? Today's the 18th. So we have about 65 days to the opening game against Catholic at home. So uber excited for that. I know I talked to my buddy Brooks Wright. I know you talked to him, but you talked to him about football, I think. And we've just been I played with Brooks in the summer, so the jarring back and forth has already started. But at home a lot. I think we have more of a home schedule this year.
Do you play with Will too?
Will
Schmidt.
I did play with Will Schmidt. I love Schmidt. Yeah, we're probably going to see him opening game. So we're definitely been jarring back and forth with one another, giving each other hard times and play some and stuff like that. But yeah, no, we definitely have more of a home heavy schedule games this year. Kind of flip flops each year. So the Heat, be there at the Heat.
Yeah. Well, guys, you know where to go watch him, and I'm just gonna say like. If I wasn't in the country, I would definitely go watch that because Catholic versus St. Paul, that's gonna be a good game. Like,
especially for a season opener.
Talented. Like it's gonna be a hard game. It's gonna be about not even about who's better, but who wants it more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to it, especially since, like I said, last season I'm playing against all my boys for one more time. So just go out there and give it our best and compete to the best of our abilities.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Cooper. I had a great conversation. Things that happened in the beginning, but it turned out to be an amazing conversation. And I hope you had fun and, hope you enjoyed your time and you got to kind of talk about your story and hope that it resonated with some people. And, where can they keep up with you on socials?
Yeah, I'm kind of on all platforms. I'm on X now, but Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I'm on Instagram. I don't really do much on TikTok. So other than that, mainly just Instagram and Twitter or X.
No pre-game TikToks.
Not really. We don't really do that many pre-game TikToks. we do a lot of pre-game ping pong though. That is definitely a pre-game ritual right there.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a little ping pong table set up in our little game room, and the dents in the wall are definitely from some thrown ping pong paddles and maybe possibly some other objects through the competitive nature.
All right, so baseball, the Air Force doesn't work out, you're gonna be a professional ping pong player. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see where life takes me. If ping pong gets thrown my way, I'll take it. The hand-eye coordination's there. So.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you again, Cooper. And thank you, Erie Insurance, for sponsoring today's video.
Yeah, hey, thank you for letting me come on tonight. I appreciate the invite.
Of course.